Word.
Hey, who'd you talk to? What's going on? It is me. It's Mike Lepre, the King Michael. This is the world of legit fantasy wrestling. Brought to you by legitpodcast.com, a.k.a. where is it? Rhode Island Podcast.com, ripodcast.com. Joining me as always, Joey Paranormal. Joey, what's up?
Not much. Yourself?
Let's see. I did more painting today on the house I bought, and I got the first of the final copies of my book to review. I had checked the spelling errors. I had to make sure that the what is it when you thank people, that part of it was all set up.
I think.
Yep. I made sure I went back into the thing and I snuck in the legit podcast website site with like a hyperlink. So on the Amazon books, they'll just click that link and go to the site. I went back and hooked us up when he wasn't looking. But no, anyways, I wrote a book with Ron Murphy, Jr. He was a guest on Legit Paranormal a couple months back. He actually joined us for another thing. He's like really, really smart guy. Like he's smart in the opposite direction that I'm smart. Like we're both smart, but in different ways. But we came together well in the book because I had a story that I told you this. I had a story that I came up with going into the shower. And by the time I was out of the shower, I had a whole story in my head, start to finish. And I don't know why, but it was just like one of those like, all right, well, if this happened, then what would happen next? It was like just me picturing what would happen. And next thing you know, I had a whole movie. He fleshed it out. It's not a movie. It's a book. He fleshed it out. We figured it out and put it in book form. There's like 20-something chapters. It's like in the 260s for pages. I'm like, yes.
Yeah,
so it took us a while to do it. Because it's kind of hard to describe something to somebody and have them flesh it out. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
And
I
got to really
put your vision to words to somebody else to put into words.
Yeah, and I got real weird imagination. Like, you know what I mean? I really am a messed up kind of dude when it comes to creativity. Like, I got a weird way of looking at things. So that's a struggle of its own. But anyways, hopefully if he gets it back to me, say like tomorrow or the next day, I think it takes 72 hours to pass the Amazon test. Like I think they read it, make sure it's not like I don't know what, but so hopefully by the beginning of next week the book should be available. Nice. I can't believe that. And there's a picture of my head on the back, but they made me do that. Like I didn't want to do that. I said if I ever wrote a book, I'm never putting my head on the back. And they're like, we need your headshot for the back. I'm like, why? And they're like, believe it or not, a good headshot will help you sell the book. Like people will look if they see a decent headshot, they'll pick up the book to see what it is, and then they might read it. So I'm like, yeah, but I'm not the head you're looking for. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I got this beard going on. Like, it ain't me. It ain't me, guy. So let's go to, here's the thing. Wait, first of all, Joe, a lot of people have actually complimented me on the quality of World of Legit Fantasy Wrestling. They actually talked about it in the last, like, Bar Fangul episode. Like, I think it was Coach TJ and Genius both tuned in on different shows at different points just to see if we were on, and then ended up listening to the whole thing because they appreciate our business look at wrestling in the sense of like we're trying to say what should be and shouldn't be and what would be a better gimmick and what would be we're doing a wrestling show in a different way. Most people will give you just the results of wrestling and they just say it, and maybe they say, oh my God, I don't like it, but they go forward. We're actually breaking down what's wrong with a program. Like we were trying to explain in common sense what's going on every week. That's what I'm enjoying about it. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I mean, when you have a promotion that gives you so much fucking ammo, I mean, you've got to shoot, you know?
Well, here's the thing. I do not dislike the WWE. In fact, I love the WWE. Let me get that across again.
Yeah.
I love the WWE. All right? I'm not like crapping on it just to crap on it. That's not what I'm doing at all. Like I'm really legitimately telling you my feelings. Like in other words, A football sportscaster tells you his feelings. Same thing with basketball. They tell you their feelings about something. They say that why the game stunk, why this should have been happening, why did they play this defense, why did that go on? But when people review wrestling, they don't take that approach. We kind of do. So we're like attacking it in a weird way. But that's just how sports people break things down. So enough of me yammering. Let's move on to Raw and the results. And let's see how they did. And this is the last one before
the Saudi show.
Yeah, Crown Jewel.
Yeah.
And that's where. And I mean, and that's when. What day is that on?
Oh, you'd have me beat. I think it's like, it might be Thursday. It's like a weird date and time. I'd have to look it up.
I don't yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Well,
I'll find it. We'll keep going.
So, all right. So this would technically be considered the go home show of Raw, right? Am I right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Opening segment.
Thursday. Yep, I was right.
Are you ready? Right. Opening. It's this Thursday?
Yeah. Thursday the 20th. Oh, no. It said Thursday the 21st, actually. So this wasn't the go home show.
Oh, all right. So what was it? Okay. All right.
So we got one more. So hopefully it's a little less shitty.
All right. Opening segment. Drew McIntyre opens the show. All right. Drew McIntyre is a beast, first of all. You got to give it up to him. You got to give up just to the size. I want him to let the beard go more. Like, in other words, he needs to let that beard go full Conan. Like, it needs to be down to like here. Because he's that kind of guy. He looks that character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But God damn it, why does he have a sword named Angela? Tell me that.
It's like you said, when they give you a prop like a doll or a mannequin head, it's over. I mean, a sword's a little different, and they can't market and sell a sword. But yeah, it's I've said it before. Like, just please get rid of it. I mean, he's a Scottish psychopath, but it doesn't mean he needs a sword. It's just, I don't know. Maybe it's something for him to carry because he misses carrying the title. I don't know.
Are they selling swords?
I hope not. Shit.
I mean, because that's the only reason I can see why the Scottish psychopath still has a sword, a broadsword, named Angela. Look, dude, you don't give a psychopath a sword. That would never happen.
Imagine someone if they gave Psycho Sid a sword.
Exactly. At some point, they're going to come take the sword from him. If he's really a psychopath. You get what I'm trying to get out of here? This whole thing? All right. So he's got the sword. And let me just say this again.
He's got a sword in his hand.
There's nothing meaner in the world to the letter W than the word sword. There's just it's like one of those, there's no point at all for the W to be in that word. Because if you take the W out, well, how do you pronounce it? Sword. You put the W back in, how do you pronounce it? Sword. I don't understand why there's a silent W in that word. I was trying to figure out other words where there's a silent W, and I couldn't come up with one. Off the top of your head, can you come up with one?
No, I'm thinking of words with silent H's that start with W, but yeah, I can't.
So why can't we say sword? When I was a little kid, I know I said sword. You did?
Yeah, the English language is messed up.
So you have no other words for me, huh? I can't think of one, right?
I mean, I didn't prep for this question, so
no such thing as prep, kid.
If you want me to come up with numbers and letters and words, nope, nope, not off the top of this head.
All right, I didn't think so.
Too much other stuff floating around in there.
I didn't think so. All right, so back to this thing. So he comes out, and what? It's like a showdown with Big E.
Yeah,
is that what we're led to believe?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, Big E made I forget exactly what he said, but Big E said the humorous, the comedic aspect of Big E came out in this little segment. It's just fantastic. It's so awesome seeing a WWE champion who isn't or doesn't always take everything so seriously.
All right, you like the fact that he's still being silly.
Yeah.
And I can be silly, but I can still win the belt.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's always had that intensity when he's in the ring, but he throws in those little, he does the hip swing before he does the, I think it's like an elbow drop or whatever it is, or the five, he does his hip 5-knuckle shuffle, we'll say. And the fact that he has that intensity, but then can also cut it with some humor. I absolutely love. It's you don't, even with Kofi. Kofi doesn't have the same kind of goofiness that Big E has, but Big E's still physically someone that you could see just being a beast like he is. So I love that aspect of him, and even in his promos, he's still doing it, and I love that they're letting him, show that side of his personality.
All right, but did we need to see them meet each other before this?
I mean, it's good to push. It's good to fuel that match, because so the biggest thing for me, and I'm pretty sure that Drew McIntyre was drafted to SmackDown. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they're not on the same show technically. So you have to kind of get, it's however that works, but you have to get some kind of fuel. You have to kind of get that little seed of doubt in your head, like, oh, maybe Big E will lose the title and Big E will go to SmackDown, and Drew McIntyre will end up on Raw as a champion. Like they have to plant that seed of doubt. So having that little that standoff, just to make you think Big E might lose, just to kind of give you some seed of doubt, so you don't just go into that going, well, this match is useless like we usually do.
Joe, Big E belongs to Raw, correct?
Yes.
Drew McIntyre belongs to SmackDown.
To my knowledge, yes.
Yes. Roman Reigns got drafted and is moving to.
No, Reigns
Raw.
is still on SmackDown.
He's going to Raw.
So they're moving him to Raw?
I read it today. They're moving him to Raw.
I saw. Oh, you know what? I did see that too. I had really awful service at work because they're working on one of the cell towers, so I couldn't read. Like I usually read a ton of news articles. I really didn't get that ability today or yesterday.
You see the headline though? Did you see
I saw the headline. Yeah.
And the thing is this: if McIntyre's the one from SmackDown, and Roman's coming to Raw, McIntyre's winning this belt. He's going to SmackDown with it.
Yeah.
Maybe Big E follows him or something, but
you might be right.
So it's got to be a SmackDown person. It can't be the Raw guy. So it's almost like they kind of told us by announcing this earlier or letting it slip out that Roman's coming to Raw.
You might be right, because I saw the headline said that, what was it? Vince McMahon is so scared of AEW that he's moving Roman Reigns to Raw. Yeah.
Yep.
And like I said, I couldn't read the article because I had no internet.
Well, because Khan made that comment.
Yeah. What comment?
That about like competing with Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
Finally taking it on.
Yeah. I mean, it's. Have you seen any of the Dynamite or Rampages? They're absolutely incredible.
Yep.
The product that they have is stunning, and I guess it's not stunning with the talent, but it's so different from the WWE product because there's nothing. You're not consistently rolling your eyes. Every program, every match, you're not just sitting there going, well, why are we doing this? Or what the hell? You might get one or two of those sprinkled in. And I'll still say the women's division isn't as fully fleshed out as the WWE. WWE still has the best women's division. But the AEW programming is so much. It's done so much better. There we go. Oh, I stumbled through that.
Let me explain how I see it right now. The AEW is like college basketball. It's really fun to watch. They play really hard. It's kind of almost the love of the game. There's all kinds of different defenses, and you see things that you don't normally see. WWE is like the NBA. It's swollen. It's played out. It's got a plotting pace. You know what I mean? There's like big name stars that run everything. You know what I mean? It's predictable in a weird way. That's kind of how I see it. I guess my comparison. The problem with this was, all right, so the Usos come out and they start a fight with, I don't know why. See, all right. Why did the Usos come out?
So the funny thing about this, too, is at least at the time, the Usos were also a SmackDown tag team. Like, they're the SmackDown tag team champions.
Mm-hmm.
So why are you on Raw? If we're going to have both tag team championships on the same show, because Randy Orton and Matt Riddle were also featured on Raw, why do we have two tag team championships? Speaking of, this is going to be totally irrelevant, but did you see that?
Why did they come out, though? What's the reason they came out?
Because
two guys that are going to battle for the other championship of the world, the other two monsters are in the ring. So you decide you and your brother are going to go to the other show and just come out then? For those two guys?
There's no rhyme or reason. It doesn't It really doesn't make
That's my
any
point.
sense.
Why did the Usos show up? Why
It's
was it the Usos? What grudge do they have? What is their angle? Other than Big E, why would those two idiots step in the ring with two monsters? What shouldn't it be two pompous guys that don't quite get it that come out and they like challenge them? And then Big E and Drew look at each other like, let's do this. Shouldn't it be those kind of guys? Like
Bobby Roode, Dolph Ziggler.
Rude and Ziggler, they can come out, do the whole entrance, act like they belong there. And the other one's like, all right, let's do this. And they smash them.
Yeah.
It shouldn't have been the Usos. They had no reason to be there.
Yeah. They're not even on Raw. I don't. It's so it's annoying. It really is just annoying because there's no continuity whatsoever with anything that happens. The only continuity that we get is that there are the same matches every week. That's the only continuity. Even the stories in the same matches don't necessarily match up.
Whew, all right. Next match was all right. Okay. Ricochet versus Xavier Woods, King of the Ring fight.
There's no point to the King of the Ring.
All right. Here's the other thing too. Like, all right. How do I say this? I like Xavier Woods. Okay. I was fine with the whole Kofi Mania. I liked how everyone got behind Big E. But don't force me to get behind Xavier Woods. Like, don't just push him because he's got to get something too. He's the third guy. Like, I don't like the way that they're filming this and portraying this from his angle. Have you noticed that? Xavier Woods' angle. Like, they're almost as if like they're documenting his trip through the King of the Ring. They're not really focusing on the other people.
Yeah. The only thing he's ever wanted, he didn't want to be a champion. He just wanted to be the King of the Ring. That's the big thing that they're pushing.
And that's all they're showing. That's the narrative they keep pushing down our throat.
I swear to God, if they job Finn Balor, because it's Finn Balor and Sami Zayn in the semis or on the left side, you know Sami Zayn's not winning that match because he's not going to Crown Jewel. Sami Zayn's not going to Saudi Arabia, so Finn Balor's winning that match. If they job Finn Balor to Xavier Woods, I'll lose my damn mind. I'll need Stanley to come help me find it because I will lose my damn mind.
If you think, I'll do it for you right now. If you think that your guy is going to beat Xavier Woods in the King of the Ring tournament, you're crazy. The day they put that on Finn Balor before Xavier Woods with the way that they're pitching this, what angle do they have for Finn? They already had his angle. He's nowhere now. He's in limbo. He's in that. Where do I go for my next story?
I was reading an article about a week ago that was saying that there were rumors that Finn Balor was going to get a big push on Raw to be the other top guy that's not necessarily in the title picture, but he was going to be like the Drew McIntyre, where Drew McIntyre was in high profile programs, but he was a former champion, but he wasn't necessarily challenging for the title. And now that Drew's over on SmackDown, Finn Balor is going to kind of take that mantle as the top guy who's not champion, who's in high profile programs. And I, going into this, was like, well, the King of the Ring is the best place for him to kind of establish, like, he's that guy. And then all this crap with Xavier Rhodes came out, and I instantly threw my head through a wall.
Finn Balor needs to take the Intercontinental title and make it something glorious. Do like a Cena angle where you let people challenge you for it every single week. And let Finn Balor show what he can do against all different styles of wrestlers. That's what you do with Finn Balor.
Yeah.
You make him the Intercontinental champion, but you make sure you give it some sort of like juice.
So, yeah.
Right? And then like he beats everybody. And then when it comes down to like, say he's at the next pay-per-view and he's going to face some monster for the first time. Say like a Braun type guy challenges him. He comes out as a demon.
Yeah.
Doesn't tell anybody, doesn't warn anybody. I think at a pay-per-view, if he's got somebody that's really big and he needs that extra, he comes out as a demon. I think that's how you push Finn Balor right now. He doesn't need to be a heavyweight champ or champ. He doesn't need that right now. Let the big guys fight over that. They're not going to let you hold it. They're not going to. So I think take the Intercontinental title and make it like, man, Tito Santana carried that thing around for years. It made his whole career just holding on to it for a while. The Macho Man was one of my favorite Intercontinental champions of all time. When he was the Intercontinental champion, it was like he could not be beat, the Macho Man. It was just so awesome. You know what I mean? Same thing with the Honky Tonk Man. Like, I was there for the Honky Tonk Man. Like, say what you want about the guy. he never lost that Intercontinental title. Him and Jimmy Hart held on to that forever. And he was like one of the worst wrestlers that there was. He didn't have many moves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right. I digress. But that's what they should do with him. And there's no way he's going to win with Xavier Woods. I'm sick of Xavier Woods getting pushed on my throat already. And other than that, though, I liked the match. It was a good match. Can't say I didn't like the match, but
there's Ricochet will never not be in a good match. And if I've said it tonight, I've said it on every show we've done. Ricochet needs to be featured more. I get he's not a big guy, but that dude can flat out wrestle. And he does some really nice flippity doos and spinaroonies and all that stuff that JR hates. He does it so well. I wish he was on TV more.
Yep. But no. All right. So I guess we needed to see that, right? Like, because that's moving the guy on. But I'm like I'm saying to you, I'm already feeling like the punch at the ending of all this is already been given away, like horrendously. So the next match was Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander, the Hurt Business. Haven't seen them wrestle as a tag team. And who do they throw to them? Mustafa Ali and Mansoor. What the hell is going on with that? Why every week does somebody get to wrestle those two clowns and then Mansoor gets beat somehow?
Well, we found out Ali beat the crap out of Mansoor at towards the end of the show, which is going to lead to them having a singles match in Saudi Arabia. It's just the whole thing has been a setup for them to go one-on-one in Saudi Arabia. The whole program, them even being a tag team. They're
gonna be very high on the card too.
It's actually incredible to think that the WWE had a long play for a story, but it's actually what it looks like happened. I wish they would do it for a program that anybody
I feel like they lucked into this one. I feel like they lucked into this one.
They might have, but I think their plan was to do the typical tag team trope where we make a new tag team, they keep losing, they split, they fight each other. That's the end. But they were like, hey, we've got a big Saudi show and we've got two superstars that would be perfect for it.
We got a Saudi show. Give me two guys from around there. Put them in a tag team. Make them wrestle week after week. I don't care who it is. Just let them lose. The week before they're about to go, they split up because they fight. And we'll make that a big match. It'll be guys from around there. That's exactly what they said. And then every night when people coming up at Raw, they were going, all right, what are we going to do tonight? I don't know. Well, we got to do the Mansoor Ali match. There's got to be some. It's in the same. Imagine that. That's what they did right before our eyes to us.
That's the only story that they've been able to tell consistently over the last month. Imagine that.
Because that's the one leading to the money.
Yeah. That's so true.
That one meant so much money. They were like, we're gonna work on this all the way up. I don't care if people don't like the matches or not. Shut up. Just keep pushing it.
Yeah.
Okay. Never thought of it like that. God almighty. So that match was what it was. All right. Shayna Baszler. And dude, I don't know. I felt like I may have walked back in time. She fought Dana Brooke.
Did she?
Yeah.
I don't even remember this.
Yeah. Yep.
Are you sure you're not talking about last week's show?
No,
I'm joking with you because they wrestled on last week's show. Yeah, it's just an absolute.
Oh, don't do that to me because I just freaked out. I'm like, what the hell is that? Am I not looking the right thing?
No. It's just they're. I don't know, man. It's
why her?
They probably only got 3 minutes. It was probably something because I didn't catch this part of the show because I do flip around when I know stuff's coming up that I'm not 100% going to be sold on. It was probably some kind of retribution angle, and Shayna Baszler just destroyed her again. I don't know. The only thing I could think of is that Shayna Baszler is going to challenge Charlotte for the women's championship, and I'm hoping that they give it to Shayna Baszler, or because like you said earlier, they want Charlotte to break her father's record. Maybe they flip the belt onto Shayna for 1 month, and then the next month they wrestle and they flip it back to Charlotte. Like a quick little 14-15 kind of thing.
Why did she have to beat up what's her face again though? Dana Brooke.
Dana Brooke
we just talked about last week about how Dana Brooke, how the hell is she still on the roster? And she's just there to get beat up.
Yeah.
And they did the same match 2 weeks in a row now.
Yeah.
Well, you can't find another girl other than Shane. I mean, other than what's her face, Dana Brooks.
I think the biggest issue is any of the other female talent on the roster that you would want to use is kind of a put over talent. They just really don't have, because Natalya was in the Queen of the Ring or the Queen's Crown tournament, and most of the other women on the roster are going to be new call ups from NXT, and you really don't want to just kind of throw them to the wolves and give them big, quick squash matches before they've even been introduced. So I don't know. Speaking of which, where's Mia Yim? What the hell? Bearcat's back.
There's got to be a girl backstage you got to throw out there other than Dana Brooks. Come on. All right, next match. So see, again, there's a bunch of junky matches in a row. Just saying.
Yeah, this show was not good.
Riddle versus Omos. Omos. Yeah, right.
Omos.
There it is. See, I don't understand that one because Omos to me would be OMAS. Because if the OM says O, another silent M, how does the OS go OS?
Yeah.
You see what
English
I'm saying?
language, man. Why is there a W in sword? I don't know.
Exactly. This is another one of them cases. This is an Omos, but people say it's Omos. I don't get it. Where's the A?
How do you explain to someone that bow and bow are the same word?
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. All right. So, Riddle challenged Omos, and didn't it eventually just fall into them beating each other up?
Yeah, Randy Orton RKO'd AJ Styles. Stop me if you've heard it before. I love all four wrestlers involved, including Omos, because I just love the Giants. I just think it's cool to see at least some giant man on in wrestling right now, because surprisingly there's not a lot of them being featured on like major publications, major shows. Probably change when Braun Strowman signs with Impact, but it's the same thing over and over. This program's going on forever. I don't know what the payoff is going to be. There's no other title involved. I think it's just a way to keep Randy Orton and AJ Styles on TV, and Matt Riddle just fell backwards into a gimmick that people love, even if Vince isn't 100% sure on what it is or why it's selling. But it's just, I don't know. It's overplayed. And again, I'm a huge AJ Styles fan, and I'm not going to ever necessarily complain when he's being featured on the programming. But I mean, for them to get their rematch, it's taking forever. And the rematch is at Saudi show. The issue is the Saudi show is in such a weird spot where it's like a month and a half out from a pay-per-view. So you have to have these long ass drawn out stories, and they don't know how to tell them correctly. They don't have anyone in the creative room that either A, has the balls to say, hey, this is how we should tell the story, or B, they have those stories, and then Vince comes in and rips them up and says, no, we're going to do this. So it's a really weird spot. This isn't, I can't stress to you how much I dislike this pay-per-view that's coming up.
Well, hold on. I got people asking us questions, and they're asking in weird ways. You can just do the YouTube stream. Yeah, everyone hates it. The Saudi thing is just a bad idea. All right, this to me, the problem I have with this is, yeah, we need him to help Omos and all that stuff, but I feel like AJ Styles gets totally buried in this tag team.
A lot of the time, yeah.
You know what I mean? He's just like, you got a guy like him, and you got him involved in some sort of gimmicky tag team thing. Like, he was world champ.
Yeah, I think he's kind of, because he's not young, and I think he's kind of at the twilight of his career. I think his main goal right now in the WWE is kind of to, like, why do you think he had the bodyguard with Omos? It's because they're trying to put over Omos by kind of, letting Matt Riddle and Omos kind of bump and rub shoulders with Randy Orton and AJ Styles, who are arguably the last, I guess I can't say decade because it's 2021, but of last decade, two of arguably the biggest stars in wrestling. I mean, it's giving them star power and TV time that they probably wouldn't be getting in other programs. So that's really the only thing I could think of, is it's just a way to kind of enhance other guys to try to make other stars for this promotion.
All right. So, yeah, maybe you get AJ Styles to agree to do that and help out. Okay. But you're still burying him. Like, whatever.
Hey, you know what, though? He had, what was it, 2017 or 18? He had one of the best years for any superstar in WWE history. When he first came in, I think it was 2016, possibly. I could be short selling how long ago it was, but
and you got to pay your dues. I get that.
Yeah, he's done everything in wrestling. So, I could see in the type of personality he has outside of wrestling, I could 100% see him being someone who's like, yeah, I will work with Riddle and Omos and let's make these guys stars because I've been there and done it and somebody else needs to get that time.
Plus, it's a great way to not get injured.
Yeah.
At this age in his career, to have some like a nice years where he just rides it out and heals up a little bit. I got to figure he's healing up, not being in all these like crazy matches, when you tag teaming. All right. I still don't like the way they're doing this, but okay, I get it. I'm not that interested in the tag team match, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. Then your buddy there, Jeff Hardy, came out and got beat by Austin Theory.
Yeah, this is another prime.
Oh, wait a minute! Actually, didn't Hardy win? Wait, who won by by grabbing the?
It was Austin Theory.
All right,
Austin Theory won the match, and then took like a selfie with Jeff Hardy or something. Like that's his new thing. I don't know. It's kind of weird because this was like so in this match they had like everyone chasing the 24/7 championship come out and like chase Reggie across the ring, and like Reggie like backflipped over the two as they were like. Because like Jeff got the distraction and hit a twist of fate, and then all these people came out and he went for the swanton and he missed because that's what he does nowadays. Because I'm sure it's probably more comfortable for him to land on the mat than it is for him to land on somebody with his back now. And Austin Theory, I believe, rolled him up, and that was kind of all she wrote. And this is just another example of Jeff is just being used as enhancement talent, which is sad. But I personally don't think everyone, a lot of people I saw online were saying that they wish he would get another title run. And I think I would love it too. I loved Jeff Hardy, but at his state, there's no way that this guy could hold the title program. He's too beat up, and you can see it every time he wrestles.
Yeah, we don't, I gotta be honest, we don't need to see that. That's going to be him. Like any of the big guys get in the ring with him, the way he looks nowadays, it's not believable to me that he's going to beat all these guys.
Yeah, he doesn't move well.
So, what did you think of the match, though?
It's like every other of his matches. They're tough to watch. He labors around the ring. He has to work slowly. He's in pain every time he hits the mat. He doesn't have the explosiveness he used to have. I don't know. It was there. Austin Theory is a really good wrestler, and I think it's nice to have him getting finally pushed on the TV, on the programming. And I don't mind it being Jeff because, again, like that's kind of what he's there for at this point. He's championship fluff. When there's a program with championship that needs a third guy, like with the U.S. championship, you throw Jeff in there because he can kind of, make things a little more interesting. Or if you have a guy that you're trying to build up to the mid card, you have him wrestle Jeff and get some wins. Unless you're carrying Cross, then you lose on your first match on the show.
All right, so let me ask you this then. So then the next match. Hold on. If I don't agree with you, no. I don't. The next match was Jinder Mahal. Here's another shove down our throat. Going over on Kofi Kingston.
Yeah. At least Jinder's a former champion, though. So at least you can, actually be like, you know what? I could see Jinder beating Kofi because both are former WWE champions. But I would like to think that Kofi is the better wrestler in those two, and that he should be the one that, and again, I'm not even going to take credit for this. I'm taking this directly from Simon Miller on Walt Culture Wrestling. They could have set up a match where it is Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston, and it's like, hey man, I love you, but I'm going to kick the crap out of you because I want this and you want it, and who wants it more? You could have written something phenomenally with that.
And so Joe, here's what happened. Here's exactly what happened up in Connecticut. How many of those guys do we have? Put them all on the card. Get guys from around there. That's all he did. Everybody that's close to that, they're on the card.
Yeah, but see, Jinder's not going to wrestle in Saudi, though. Well, at least, I guess he could be added to the card. But you'd think that if that's the case, then we'll see Jinder go over against Xavier, and then it would be Jinder and Finn. And then if Jinder beats Finn, I would also absolutely lose my mind.
Okay. I just see them all being pushed for the card. Next was a tag team that didn't make sense. It was Sasha Banks with Bianca Belair. They hate each other.
Yep.
Versus Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch. They hate each other. What show are all four of these women from?
I don't know. So I know Bianca. I think Sasha. Yeah, I don't remember who got drafted where anymore. I'm pretty sure Bianca's still. No, Bianca's on Raw. Becky's still on SmackDown. Sasha's. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It's so convoluted and this is, I said this last week or the week before. Why have the draft if this is how you're going to treat weeks after the draft? Or if you're so scared of AEW and their ratings, then don't split the brands. Just have wrestlers who are specific to one or two brands and then just have some crossovers. Don't sit there and say, well, you're a SmackDown superstar and you're a Raw superstar. I say, no, you're in this talent pool, but if we want you to wrestle someone over here, like we're going to cross that gap. Or if you're hot, we're going to move you.
The only people that should wrestle at just one show are the champions to said show. Everyone else, in my humblest opinion, is like a free agent trying to get matches to get back into some sort of title shot.
Yeah.
So they should be allowed to go back and forth. Just keep the champions to their shows. How hard is that?
Yeah.
No, I'm serious.
No, I know you are, and I understand. It's just that's not what they want to do, and it's so simple to me and you talking to each other. It really is. It's so simple to just talk about.
Well, why wouldn't they do that? Keep the champion on your show. Let the other people be fluid.
And that's the question. Because and all right, so I'm just going to mention this, that AEW created the TBS championship. So they now have two television championships. And I believe the TBS is actually a women's championship, if I'm not mistaken. But they created two television championships because they're on two different television stations. So why wouldn't the WWE do something like that? And I get it. They have the United States champion and the Intercontinental champion. But you mentioned it. They don't make sense. Those two belts don't make sense to be on the same level. It makes sense to get rid of the United States championship and have the Intercontinental championship. And that is the one step down from the WWE championship. And then you can have two TV titles, the USA. Well, okay, now I'd see the convolutedness of that, but you have the USA champion and you have the Fox champion, or however you want to call it. And those are the two champions for those shows. Something like that. You can just make it more interesting than just, well, here's Roman Reigns and here's whoever has the WWE title. And you treat the WWE title, that is one of the most prestigious championships in all of wrestling, like an afterthought because your top star has some blue strap crap shot. What they're doing, and this is what it comes back to, is you had both women's champions on one show tagging together against their, I'm assuming, opposition, except Sasha and Bianca are both in a program with Becky. So Charlotte is just there because she's Charlotte, and I've gone cross-eyed. It's like I just don't. It doesn't make it's so hard to try to figure out exactly what they're thinking in their meetings. But it was just there.
You just confused me, and I was listening.
And it ended in a DQ. It ended in a disqualification. You had a tag match where the two people on the same team started fighting each other, and the ref called it a disqualification. And that's foreshadowing because something else happened later in the show that makes this absolutely asinine.
The chat we got in the room, I can't even repeat.
Yeah, I don't even.
And that name, whoever signed up for that YouTube account must know me, because that's a common thing my mom would say. Oh, your sister's ass. Like, that's what my mom would say. It just says that. They've all said, all the Italians always just say that. Ah, your sister's ass. I don't know why. So the fact that that's the name of the thing, they said just that, I'm not going to add anything. Yep, not touching it. So, yeah. let's see what was left after that debacle, which it really was a debacle, right? I mean, that was just, come on, there was no point, just no point. So then they don't know what they're using 2 matches to promote a woman's fight. Like they use the what's her face before destroying the girl she fought before, and then they had Dewdrop come out and fight Natalia.
Yep.
Dewdrop wins this
in like 3 minutes, not even.
So they're basically setting up Dewdrop for Shayna Baszler, right?
Maybe. I was wondering if Dewdrop was going to win the Queen's Crown and she was going to be like the next big women's star that comes out of this, which I'm fine with. I just please change your name. Please, for the love of God, please change your name. Dewdrop it just sounds so ridiculous. It's awful. And she didn't even like it when she first got the name. So if you split from Eva, why wouldn't you instantly be like, okay, well, screw her. I'm Piper. That's my name.
All right, look. Let me explain something. Here's where I think it's even worse than you think. Dewdrop is, in my opinion, a drop coming down that's maybe pointy at the top, but gets more bulbous to the bottom. That's what a dewdrop looks like. Would you agree to that?
Yeah.
Then they gave this woman who's extra size the name Dewdrop. You don't find that, like, I can't believe no one said a word about that so far. Because what do you think Dewdrop looks like? Google Dewdrop and tell me what it looks like.
You're so right. You know, you are 100%
correct. Do they think that we're going to think that it's because it's a beautiful name that we're going to think something different?
I thought it was just because it was a horrific name. It was just a horrendous, childish name. I thought that's kind of the point. But what you're saying makes a lot of sense. A lot of scary sense.
She's a dewdrop, which is like this. It gets rounded towards the bottom. I think that's a horrible name. Like, I mean, I don't care. I could care less. I don't think it's funny. So therefore I don't like it. Like if it was a funny name play on her, you know, then whatever, but have at it. But they don't know how to handle big female wrestlers. They don't know if they should make them monsters or if they should try to make sure that they can make them monsters, but then be like likable and show that you can relate to them. Because when you're pushing a large female wrestler at being like a bad person, for some reason, they have to show that female wrestler is still relatable and not really like a monster. Whereas with the guys, they don't care. They don't do that. Why do you think that is?
I think it's because they're scared of backlash. You know, they don't want the perception that they're having larger female wrestlers as monsters. They don't want, and it's
why not though? But why not?
I mean,
they're bigger wrestlers. Why can't you promote them as monsters?
I'm not arguing with you. Like, because when Nia first came in, that was kind of the thing, is she was just a unstoppable force. She was a monster. She was just destroying everyone. I think they get scared. They get, you know, they tip their toe in that little bit of like, ooh, this is, you know, forbidden territory. And then they pull the ripcord because they're scared of the backlash. I mean, there was her program with Alexa Bliss. They ran the whole, oh, Nia's a bully kind of thing. Yeah, then they made her a bully, and she was just bullying Alexa. It's weird how scared they are to push the envelope nowadays after the success. And it's true. I mean, there's, you know, we had the group chat about it, and it, you know, it's a really tough time or time in the world to be any kind of programming like this, because, you know, you or I might not find things offensive and might be like, hey, just like toughen up. Like, this is the world. Like, you can't be offended at every little thing. But somebody else is then going to be, well, that's offensive. And what I'm hearing is offensive. And this whole thing's offensive. And then they're going to rally like-minded people and things become an issue.
So you remember what I said before, though? In the world of wrestling, they should never worry about offending people. Because you're going to offend somebody no matter what the frig you do nowadays. It does not matter what you say, what you do. You're going to offend somebody. So you're a wrestling division that wants to get more swear words, more this stuff, that going on. Be offensive, but own up to it. Don't call her a dewdrop and dance around the fact that that's what you meant. And if it's a big girl, push them like monsters because they're big women. If they're large and they're over 275, that's a big woman. You know what I mean? Put her in the ring. If she beats people up, that's how it goes. And you know what? What do you want us to say? Because what? You want her relatable? No. She's a monster. We're not saying that all big women are monsters. We're just saying a big woman like that could act like a monster all she wants with these tiny women. That's what you're supposed to be saying. So it's just like, God damn it, just if you want to push a big woman because she's big, push a big woman. That's the thing. I mean, don't walk up to a big woman and shove her down. What I'm trying to say in this rant is, if you're gonna in wrestling, if you have a big woman, use her as a big woman. Don't shy away from that crap. Like, what the hell? Like, what the hell? You know?
Yeah. No, you're right. It's because they make the story so unbelievable because they're so scared to do that kind of thing. And I don't know. It's like I said, they're scared, and I get it. Wrestling shouldn't live in reality because it's not reality, and we've said it before. It's not reality what they're doing. The acrobats are reality, but the stories, it's a soap opera. It's an absolute soap opera. So yes, they should 100% be doing that. And at times they did that with Nia Jax, but they always pulled the ripcord. It's unfortunate that she's injured because I'd love to see what they would do with her now because she was starting to show an edginess that she hadn't had since her days with the championship. So we're missing out. And I'm hoping that maybe they do flip that switch with Doudrop and just make her kind of an unstoppable force because of her size compared to the other women that are wrestling. Because in reality, when you think of it, she would just destroy everybody in theory, unless you knew how to wrestle. I mean, one punch from her would probably knock down a lot of the women she's wrestling. So it's like, what are we going to do here? Are we living in reality or not reality? Because she's a force and she should be pushed as one.
Joe, the thing is, today I may have reached, and today is October 13th, 2021. I may have reached my limit with cancel culture, with people being offended, with stuff like that going on, like the lack of freedom of speech, making everything into something that's a personal attack. Everything's about you. Like, that's how people are reacting to this stuff. But on top of that, like, not to skip sports, but the John Gruden story. Now, what I take from that is he said a bunch of rotten things racially, homophobically, whatever you want to say, through emails to friends. All right? That's one of the things they mentioned. And right there and then I'm going to say this. Who the fuck cares? Why do we care? Why are you holding that against the guy? Who cares what he said? That's what he said. That was his freedom of speech. It's 14 years ago you're taking his dialogue and holding him accountable for it. How can you go back 14 years? If you go back 14 years on everybody's email that I know, I'll be the first to say it for everybody. Oh, no. You're going to find things that's going to nail every one of us to the wall for something. I mean, think about how you talk. I don't know about you, but how I talked 14 years ago. I'm thinking about it like, yeah, some of those words I would just say. Like not the real bad ones, but like, the one that he's thrown up in the thing. That's one that I would use. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
But I didn't you can't use that now. And, it's midget. But I would use that all the time. And I can't. So, not that I can't, but, I realize, I guess, that I shouldn't. It's more that I can't. It's really that more that I can't. Because I would want to, but I still can't because I know people are going to react. So, like, I had it with that. That's why I got mad with this, with the Doudrop thing. Because I'm looking at it, I'm going, can someone just be honest and give it to us honest and just be honest and just ignore everybody that's complaining? Let them all complain. Like, let them all complain. Let them all complain. Just let them complain. In wrestling, you should be purposely trying to get people to complain. I believe that. I think wrestling needs to just stir it up, Joe. I keep saying that. If you're going to be like that, I'm saying just be bluntly in their face about it. Don't hide it. Write it out. Lean into it. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
What were the two big guys' names? What were the two heavy guys' names when they were tag team champions? Tugboat.
Oh yeah.
Earthquake, and it was Earthquake.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Dude, Typhoon he became.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think of remember Al Snow? He had a weird intimate relationship with a mannequin head.
I'm talking about big people. King Kong Bundy. they called him King Kong Bundy. Just keep
Yeah.
those names in mind when you think of really big wrestlers. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like you
Or like
have
even
to.
Rikishi. Like Rikishi, his finisher was I'm gonna shove your face into my ass. So yeah, I'm with you 100% because
Well, it was more like I'm going to shove my ass into your face
yeah,
because he
that's
hit
yeah,
them. He didn't like
yeah, that's
grab
true.
them and run them across the ring and stick him into his ass. You couldn't do that. I don't know how you could physically do that, but he did it the opposite way. But like, yeah, you got a big guy, push the big guy. That's I don't know. No more being offended and just, you know what I mean? Like, give me something that I never seen. All right. So then the night ends with the Usos coming out to fight Big E and Drew McIntyre. McIntyre ends up winning by hitting Big E with the Claymore. Why?
Well, so this is a foreshadowing I was talking about because in the women's tag team match, there was a disqualification because Bianca and Sasha wouldn't stop fighting. So in this match, Big E and Drew McIntyre kept fighting each other. The ref didn't care. So I get that we're trying to push this whole narrative of like it's not real, it's this, it's that. But at the same time, it's sports entertainment, but you have the word sport in there. So there has to be some rule. There's got to be some rules to this. And you can't just throw crap out the window because it works for you in this match. That's how you want this match to finish, but this match has got to finish differently. So we're going to take 2 tag team matches with interference with one tag team fighting amongst themselves. This one's going to end with the disqualification because we want to protect everybody, but this one's going to end with our challenger for the title taking out the champion because we want someone to stand tall. I hate that so much. I hate those discrepancies where sometimes someone gets thrown out of the ring and the ref never counts, and sometimes someone gets thrown out of the ring and he counts to 10 within 5 seconds. It's all about what they want to happen in the match. And if you want people to be on the edge of their seat and wondering, oh, what's going to happen, stop forcing things to happen like that. You throw someone out of the ring and you don't count. Okay, well, they want them to fight outside of the ring, but this is a singles match. So you only have 10 seconds before you have to get back in. But yet you just put that guy through a table and now you're both out. It's been 20 seconds. What are we doing? So that was my biggest gripe with this match is that it completely went against everything that they did earlier in the show. And it ruins the immersion to me. Like, I don't watch wrestling to be like, this is so real. Oh my God, I don't know what's going on. I just watch wrestling to be immersed in the universe, in the storylines. You watch AEW, you watch Dynamite, and the way the crowd's reacting, the way the superstars react, the match quality, you kind of get immersed. You get sucked in. Your eyes are glued to the television. You get a match like this, and within minutes, you're like, oh, I've seen this, and I know what's going to happen. And they're going to fight, and then the Usos are going to use that to their advantage, and the Usos are going to pull a cheap one out, and now we're going to get infighting between these 2 challengers and it's so overplayed, and it didn't make any sense. I hate it.
Yep.
There's my rant.
No, but I'm like, yep. I'm going, yep, because I know it. Yep. I'm agreeing with it. Yep. Like, what are they doing? Hey ho. All right. So it ends there on that one. That's Raw. What do we make of this? What would you like to see change? Like, I am confused at why they had all 4 of those girls in one match matched up with the people that they don't like. I think that was the biggest shocker for me in this whole thing. Like, what's going on? Why was that done?
So the issue is Charlotte had no bearing on that match whatsoever. And Bianca and Sasha also don't like each other. So I guess the thought process is you put the 2 heels or you put the 2 that don't like each other together, who are hotheads and will go at each other. Because Sasha is heelish, but she doesn't act like a heel because she's not one. Like Becky will kind of, she'll jump off the apron and just kind of sit back and watch what's going on and just kind of like let them fight. Where Sasha's the one where she'd come in and she would just start beating the shit out of everybody. she might act like a heel, but she's not going to kind of play that heel game where like, well, I'm going to sit on the outskirts and let everything play out. Like, no, she's just going to punch everybody in the face. So
I think they're all heels. I think they're so close to each other as far as characters. They're all like out for themselves. All four of those women, they all have the same sort of "I'm the best," which is good to have, but that's all it is. It's all the same sort of angle. They just do it in different styles.
Well, that's why I say Bianca and Sasha's characters are very close in that Sasha's supposed to be the heel and Bianca's the face. But they do both have that like badass, I don't give a shit about anything, I'm just going to fight everybody kind of tendency. Like I will take anybody on to prove that I'm the best, where Becky and Charlotte are kind of like completely on the opposite ends of the spectrum of what they are. And I guess that's in the grand scheme of things why they, why they put her in the match with Becky. And I'm speaking of Charlotte because they fit together with the way their heel characters are supposed to be played out. But it was weird. And it's how, again, you take the same trope where it's champion versus challenger in a tag team match, except this was a little different because it's a triple threat. And now you've got two of the challengers against the champion. Like it's just so overdone, and it could have been done better. They didn't need to wrestle. You could have just scripted them to do like a backstage interaction. Maybe they brawl backstage. Maybe they all just run into each other and it's like, well, what are you doing here? Well, what are you doing here? Why are you here? What's going on? I don't like you. And they brawl backstage for a couple minutes and it's over. The tag team match had no bearing, and it was frustrating.
I could pitch. Here's the thing. This is what I don't get it. Like if someone said to me, "We're gonna have that match," I could pitch an angle to it right off the top of my head. Top of my head, I'd have some little kid ask for an autograph and be like, "Ooh, Sasha Banks," and then go to the next person, and be like, "Oh," as if like they're bigger than the next, and finally end with Becky Lynch getting her autograph out of all four of them, and then there being a beef with that going on. That's how it would be great because they all care about themselves. So have a fan want an autograph from like one of them, but then keep going to the next one because if the next one's like bigger or more famous, that would have been a great angle. Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, that's a way to at least explain why the four of them would be in a match in the first place. I just honestly don't even think you need to put Charlotte Flair in that program, because Charlotte Flair should be in a program with somebody else for her championship instead of throwing her into the championship program for the other shit. Now I've gone cross-eyed again. Because, like, there's no reason that they're doing some of these matches. It just doesn't make sense.
My angle would have worked.
Yeah.
They could all have been showing up for some sort of, like, video game shoot or whatever, and they're all champs, and they bump at each other, and they all get disrespected because some kid ends up wanting, like, whoever. Charlotte Flair's autograph at the end.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. I just don't think it would have even had to go that far. You could have replaced that match with Charlotte versus somebody else, just a tune-up match, or just a beat the champion kind of match. Doesn't need to be for the championship. She just has to go out and wrestle and start a program that way, because you don't necessarily need a story to make a match, but you need to have context when you make a match the size of Bianca and Sasha versus Becky and Charlotte. I mean, you've got 3/4 of the four horsewomen there, and it's just there. Now, there was a little bit of play up to it, but it would have been better to just if you're going to put those 3 women from SmackDown on Raw, you don't need to put them in a match, because then it gets confusing. Because why are these SmackDown wrestlers wrestling on Raw? You make it, hey, they were just there for something. One was there to talk to Vince about the match. One was there to stop the other about the match. And the other one would just happen to, Becky's just there scouting talent. Like she's just looking to see the landscape of the other show. I don't know. They all meet, they all fight backstage. You do a little backstage brawl instead of, and then you use that. I don't know. Spitballing. But again, your idea works well. I think my idea might work. Like it's we're people sitting here on a computer talking into a microphone on a YouTube podcast that are coming up with what we think might be better ideas for programming than what they're actually putting on TV.
Joe, I don't think I've been wrong yet. I'm not trying to be a jerk about this. I just honestly feel like I don't think I've had a bad call yet. I think if they would have just listened to what I've said so far, we could have turned this whole thing around and got it going in the right way.
Yeah. They might be one of the ratings back.
Let's fix this belts problem up. Let's fix this who goes where problem up. Let's stop all this afraid to get canceled or whatever the crap that is. Let's just go balls out and let's see if we can win this.
Yeah.
We're going down no matter what. It's either a slow death like it is right now, You go flaming out with all kinds of crazy ideas. And that's what they did with the Attitude Era.
Yep.
It'd be the legit era. Just give it to us
Yeah.
and let us run with it.
Yeah,
That's
seriously.
All right, Joe, got anything to say before we wrap up?
No, I think I've talked enough for one night. I'm winded, so I'll end on the note on the rant for the last match.
Well, they need to listen to us. That's all I'm going to say, Joe. They need
Yeah.
to start listening to us. All right. For Joey Paranormal, it's me, Mike Lepre, King Mike L. This was the world of legit fantasy wrestling from legitpodcast.com, a.k.a. Rhode Island podcast.com. We have a show tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. Legit fantasy football. We will see you then. Thanks.